And recording.
I'm still you part of me.
It's just a stupid notification stuff. But it's not leaving. Right there.
Maybe you just have to say
I mute myself.
There we go.
Even though I'm unmuted.
Someone else wants in.
Okay, I think we're ready to roll. Good morning. It's Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. This is the meeting of the City of Ocean Shores Radio Board. And I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call for board members who are present.
Gardner here.
Thank you, Dave.
Rosanna here.
Rosanna said.
Hi, Rosanna here.
Thank you, Rosanna.
Here.
Dave is present.
Daryl Krause here.
Daryl's present. And Marty is present. Chair. All right, thank you very much. We're going to move on to the approval of the meeting agenda. Everyone would take a peek and then see if they have any adjustments that are appropriate. I have a very small spelling error that's on page 5.
You're talking about minutes, not agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry, meeting agenda.
Right.
That's right. That's right. I got agenda.
So under the agenda,
Yeah.
I believe we should, because it was touched on a little bit last week, it seemed to be carried over. Maybe touch back on news, because it was I guess the discussion was getting kind of long on news. So I was thinking maybe we could touch on that again on old business, and then on new business, I'll just have a motion to make.
Okay. On the news matter, my understanding was that we left it that it was going to be in the hands of the managers to select an appropriate news source. If that needs clarification, we can bring that certainly. Pardon me?
That one. We're just waiting to get it all keep Sarah paid.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then that
You reported the old business.
Yeah, that'll be a.
yes. Okay. Report. Okay. And Dave wants to add an item under new business. Okay. Any other adjustments to the meeting agenda? Can I get a motion to accept the adjustments to the meeting agenda?
So moved.
Okay, second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Daryl. We've already discussed it. Anybody have any additional comments? Okay, nothing heard. Then let's move forward with a quick vote on accepting the meeting agenda as modified.
Aye.
Oh, aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Now it's time to go on to the minutes. And once these are reviewed and approved by the board, they will be posted on the website, we understand. So take a moment and read the minutes from the previous meeting on May 23rd. And as I mentioned, I have one. I'm sorry, Dave.
I just said, see if anybody else can catch your typos.
Oh, I have plenty of typos, but I didn't. Okay. One, I believe the correct is on page 5 of 5, and it's under new business, and the sentence is about the beginning of about 2/3 the way through the paragraph. And the sentence is, Daryl reminds us that as a city entity, we cannot use city, and the word that's printed is recourses, to promote any candidate, including reading a voter pamphlet bio. But my belief is the word was resources rather than recourses. So very minor edit, but it might make a difference someday in the future.
And of course, the other one that because nobody's gotten the improved copy, is the beginning date where it said 4/25 and it should have been 5/23.
Oh, yeah,
I
right.
did amend that and send it to Sarah.
I thought that got reissued. Do you guys have that one?
No, I sent it to Sarah and figured she would do that, but anyway.
Okay, I
So now I'll have two, so she won't have to wait all that.
take one more moment and we'll get back to that one. Okay.
What?
So those adjustments, anyone else have an adjustment to the board meeting minute? Yeah,
Oh, it
minutes.
looks like I misspelled Daryl's name wrong in the first, on page 4, Gordon Darrell, with 1 L.
That's kind of hurtful.
Sorry, Daryl. Nothing.
He only gave you 1 L.
Yeah.
Oh, right in that. Board members report. Okay.
It won't happen again.
Okay. Go. Okay. All right, well, let's have a motion to approve the minutes.
So move.
Thank you, Dave. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Besides what we've already hit upon? Okay, hearing none, quick vote on accepting the approved minutes as modified as we just have. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Appreciate your support on that. All right, public communications, 3 minutes. The radio board is accepting written public comments to be sent in via email to the city clerk. That's slogan@osgov.com, no later than 9 a.m. on June 27th. Actually, that's today. So if there were any that came in, we don't know about it. So open to public comments. Comment?
Oh, I just have one, and I'm sure it's in your report. I was just wondering about the status of the road to the tower. So,
The status of which?
the road to the
Oh,
tower.
okay, thank you. Okay, all right, I believe that will come up under reports in a few minutes here. All right, anyone online that's from the public wishing to speak?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Don Williams. Are you hearing me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought last night's meeting, I happened to start listening to it on FilePro and like I always do, so I could watch anything on the screen. And but I apparently didn't start right away, so I switched over to the radio station and listened to it, and it was just a great coverage. I'm not sure what those masks on the microphone are supposed to do, but there weren't any audio dropouts that normally sometimes happen when you're on peak. When the audience applauds, a lot of times the audio apparently overloads and cuts out. But it sounded great last night. Good job. And I just wish that the FilePro could use the same audio connection that the radio uses, because the radio is much more crisp. I think maybe the TV, the city broadcast it must be picking up audio off the boom mic, because you can hear lots of echoes in the room. But on the radio, it's very crisp, and maybe sometimes someone can figure out how to use the same connection for the TV connection that they use on the radio. Much better audio. But good show last night. Was great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. Glad it was a positive one this time. Appreciate that very much. Thank you, Don. Okay, reports. Chair's report. Second. So I had a communication that I sent to John Martin outlining Ocean Shores Mayor John Martin, outlining that the building permit for the transmitter shed is in its final processing at Grays Harbor County. The American Tower has re-described the transmitter shed location at the site to what is a preferred location from the standpoint of keeping costs down. It's considerably closer to the tower and closer to the pre-existing Grays Harbor PUD electrical connection bank of meters. So that'll help keep the cost down on the electrical install, I believe. It'll also mean the transmission lines that go at the tower will be able to be a little bit shorter, and therefore we will not have to run quite as much transmitter power. So that saves in the long run on the electrical utility and also on the longevity of the transmitter by not having to run it at near maximum power. So those are all positive notes of the American Tower having re-described the location. Transmitter shed is in the process of being ordered. However, we're waiting for the permit approval before ordering it, just in case something goes sideways. The logging road access to the tower site has been improved by American Tower.
I think somebody just sneezed.
Okay. Although I have not driven the road yet myself, I have a field report from Becky Leach, the project manager, who has been to the site, and she reports that it was very much easier to access. It's still a little bit bumpy, but it's there are no more big potholes or mud holes that are concerning for access. Certainly not going to be any kind of a regular highway type road. It's made for trucks. Oh.
On the shed.
Well, why don't you hold them until I finish the and then I can ask if there are any questions about it. The surveyor for verifying the antenna orientation compliance has been selected. Bids for tower riggers are due in soon, possibly even yesterday. I don't know where that stands. Becky's in on that. Same thing with the electrical contractors, that will be due soon. The request for proposals for both of those have been out the appropriate amount of time. And the transmission lines, the microwave antenna, and the previously delivered transmitting equipment is in storage down in the city works yard and or over at the KOSW storage building. Finally, I just received notice yesterday that the broadcast antenna is on the loading dock to be shipped out. So it's either picked up today or probably tomorrow at the latest, and will be shipped to us probably just rough guess of 9-day, 8-day shipping from Pennsylvania. So it comes by truck. So that is my report from the chair. Did you have a question?
Yeah, are they gonna order the shed, or are they gonna be able to buy it off the lot?
Well, it's customized shed.
So they haven't even ordered it yet. I'm just asking.
I don't know how far any of that has progressed. That is Becky Leach will talk.
It's like 6 weeks to get this shit.
Again, I don't know how to answer that. We'd have to check with Becky Leach on that. So I will follow up and ask.
2 questions.
Yes.
Number one, it was unclear last time. It sounded like we were going to still be, or the city was still going to be paying for the antenna, whether it was used or not, even though you did encourage Pat to put some pressure on the forces that be. Do you know if they waived that, or if we are paying for something we're not using right now?
I don't know. I've had no communication from them on that regard.
Okay, and then my second question is, do you have any kind of a target date when? That's the number one question I get all the time is, when will this thing be finally going?
I can't predict at the moment. I thought I had it predicted previously, but there have been roadblocks and stumbling points along the way. So I'm not in the mood to try to predict anymore on this thing. But I appreciate the question.
I have a question. In your experience of installing this type of electronic gear at other radio stations, do you find anything out of the ordinary in the process we're going through now? Or is this like
Only the city requirements?
the
That's
typical?
that's the only extraordinary part. I mean, in the commercial world, you get approval for a project. It's up to the people involved in the project to just go out and order the equipment. Stay within the budget. Budget goes awry or starts to go awry, you bring it to the attention of the funding group and they make a decision as to whether they're going to expand or say you need to contract because you've got all you're going to get. So it just depends on what elements are falling into that aspect.
So not ordinary.
No, nothing extraordinary. Yeah. Okay. Station report.
Raise up.
Trace.
The only thing I have to report is that we currently have 41 underwriters.
How about the news?
What about the news?
Didn't you send something over to Sarah about getting approval for a news program?
Yes, but I have heard nothing.
Okay.
My turn.
Sure.
I only got one thing. I want to thank Mike Price and the crew for the 2 events that we put on since the last board.
Yes.
Was Superhero Festival and the Sound Sauce. Both of them went over really well. And I want to thank everybody for doing an awesome job.
And I'll echo that. I was quite pleased all the way around with both the presentation of the city to the community and the activities, and especially though the activities that the radio stations involved with it. I thought that the excitement level in the community was really on course. It was great.
Well, so far we only have one left to go, and that's Hog Wild. We have not been contacted for Associated Arts, so I don't know if we're doing that.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I have a question regarding the news. I guess we discussed last time that there was going to be, according to the minutes, that down the road we should talk about more possibilities of covering local news.
That's Trey's
Come under old business.
Oh, okay. I'll pass on that thing for them.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Very good. Technology report. Let's see. Last time I believe I reported that the FCC and FEMA have come up with an update for the emergency alert system. The update is still mandated. It's just that the manufacturers of the equipment have not completed rewriting the software. So there's been a little bit of a stall in that. Sometime later this year, once the new software is in place, there will be a national test, or there's expected to be a national test, similar to what we've done in past years, where a test is originated from the White House and it ripples out, and everybody has to report that whether or not they've got the test and whether or not it was carried, and if there's been garbling or anything like that associated with it. That's the reason we test these things, is to be able to determine if there are any loose ends that need to be cleaned up. And one of the things that came out of the last annual test that prompted the changes by the FCC and FEMA is that there is a hierarchy of program content that gets carried over the emergency alert system. And there is a new system, newer system that FEMA and the FCC have been using, which is it's called a CAP, Common Alerting Protocol, and it's sent out over the internet to the stations. it grabbed the primary position on everybody's alert receivers. It's not supposed to work that way. It's supposed to work, whoever's receiving signal came in first in time is the one that gets carried. The other ones could be used supplementally another time, but it's just an error in the way that they wrote the programming. So that's being cleaned up. I think that's all that I have for the technology report. Frank, do you have anything for us on the?
No, not really. I'm just appreciate you sticking with it because you've had a lot of hurdles to jump through, and so I appreciate you carrying on and fighting the good fight to get this thing completed.
We're trying. You betcha. Absolutely. Well, thank you. All right, board member report. Let's see. We responded to the communication regarding our last action where we voted to not allow persons running for elected positions as well as ponds and other issues that are presented. We're not going to be carrying those. Persons are not allowed to be on the air, so that we don't have any appearance of favoritism or allowing an accident to occur on the air. That's our number one goal, is to not have anybody that on the air that would accidentally casually mention something about the elections that are coming up. So that's about all I have to say on that one. Daryl, do you have a report for today?
Yeah, a couple of things. No. The North Beach Community TV side, we're simulcasting more off the air KOSW program. So like last night, we carried the special city council meeting, excuse me, and then a regular city council meeting as a simulcast. I didn't have the ability to go to the convention center yesterday to talk to the management there about getting a direct line from their internet provider. So it's a wired line so that we could use it for both TV and radio to get a more stable connection. So that's on my to-do list, is to go see those guys when they're not horribly busy, to see if we can get that plumbed in. But we're carrying more stuff on simulcast. We also started this week doing KOSW overnight. So after Creature Features is over at about 12:15 in the morning until 7 a.m. when we run the national anthem, we're carrying in 1 hour hunks KOSW. We break away at the top of the hour for I think 2 minutes and run our own station ID and then a couple of spot opportunities for some other commercials in there. Or underwriters from the TV side, and then just carry KOSW. So we're not carrying a whole bunch of really old, outdated programs. So we're trying to clean things up. We're going to look at the KOSW daytime schedule. Once I get it, I'm going to put together a spreadsheet of programming that's on channel 68 for new stuff and reoccurring programs to see where our holes are at. Again, to get rid of some old stuff. I mean, we're running some things from 2020 and 2021. We want to get rid of all that programming out of there and take that. And also, I wanted to bring up something else. I've been hit on another topic by a lot of citizens about in citizen inclusion and allowing people to participate in KOSW. And to have a DJ show is a real difficult thing, and it really wouldn't I mean, there's a whole bunch of people already on there now, and so it doesn't take care of that issue, in my opinion. But what I would like to encourage, I'm not sure if this is a programming thing or if this would be a policy thing, but I think the one program, on the music program, you can call it a request music, but that's really not what I would call citizen involvement. But on the morning show is the one that has the most amount of interviews of movers and shakers in the Ocean Shores and North Beach communities, to give the citizenry an opportunity to express their thoughts or opinions or ask the guests some questions. So maybe it should be a policy that on every time that there's someone that comes on, that a guest would know that we're going to take in phone calls. So I'm not sure if this is a policy thing or this would be a programming thing. But I should like to see it as a policy, where that everyone that comes on is made aware, whether you're the library board or a book club or a genealogy club, that they promote because we have the equipment now to promote the call-in phone number. That's my thoughts.
Okay. Roseanne?
No report.
No. Okay, thank you. Dave?
Report. Nope, I think it's all been covered. I went down to the beach a couple times. Once with Rosanna and once with setting them up with Greg, so that was all good. And you know, people are looking forward to getting the station thing fixed so we can get some bumper stickers and that kind of stuff. And I think that's about it. Yeah, like I said, but I concur completely with Daryl too. I think I do hear the same kind of stuff that people would like to get more input sometimes with KOSW. And so that, matter of fact, one fellow, it's been a month or so ago, recently approached me and wanted to know why we didn't give tours. And I said, well, it's pretty small in there. And he said, well, the TV station, I guess a number of months ago, he was telling me that they did a tour, and it was, so anyway, I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. I can, you know, I'm not the powers that be, so you can just call sometime and ask, but that's, anyway, that's it. It was just a citizen suggestion, I guess.
And as a board member, I have to say that I made that suggestion several times in reports. The 2 reports that I made, there should be more citizen involvement, either through the Elks Club, Lions Club, library board, come on the station and present their current events or issues that concern them, even if it promotes them haphazardly. But and I guess I will look at that as part of local news and information, which I don't see. So I don't see that.
And one thing I forgot, like I sent you a note, Marty, we should chat sometime because the people at the Elks approached me about the station possibly covering a concert that they're going to have. And they want to know if that would be possible for them to maybe poke in a couple times live and say, hey, this is what's going on. Hi, how are you doing? Or whatever. So anyway, I told them I didn't know if there'd be a cost associated with such a thing or what, but I would talk to you.
Okay, that's programming. So do we have an agenda or not an agenda, but do we have a commitment or anything with the Elks on this show?
No, of course, they've never been approached.
Oh,
they asked me to look into it, so that's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. So that would be a programming decision. I mean, we carry any show live, and Dave is suggesting that someone at the Elks has inquired about having KOSW carry a live concert that the Elks is putting on in August.
Yeah, it's an outdoor concert that they're planning on doing on August 12th. And so their leader asked me if they could, you know, I don't know if it was necessarily carrying it live, but at least sticking their heads in and you know, saying this is what's going on here. And but you know, I could say give you the guy's number and you could talk to him, or give him your number and he could talk to you, whoever it may be. But I told him I didn't know if there'd be a cost associated with that or not, if that's something we could do, so. Figured I'd get the answer or get him in
They
the.
just want to give us a flyer so we can announce it. Is that what they're talking about?
No,
It wants to be, actually do their concert, so they don't have to get cost to it, because it's not a city end.
Well, that's something you guys can do. See, I mean, it's one non-commercial entity.
another, yeah, it's all nonprofit, it all goes to charity.
But it does, is it gonna fit the format? What's the time? All that stuff is programming related, so it just needs to be hosed out with Butch to make certain.
Okay, I'll get Butch's number and ask him to call him.
Sounds good. Okay, and Thomas, so you mentioned notes about discussion from the Elms and other entities that would like to be able to be voiced on the air. Okay. All right. Moving on, we'll go to old business with
Thomas, and you report.
Yeah, I did. Or did you have some other one? I'm sorry.
Can I, yeah, a couple of questions came to me during this report. Can I update them?
Sure.
Okay, Daryl was talking about the phone calls. I'll talk to Tom, but he's always been encouraged to tell the guests, or tell the people that if they want to call in, call in. The problem is no one ever hardly calls. So even when we're giving away free tickets to concerts, it's hard to get people to call. So
maybe the beginning and the ending of.
and well, maybe there's something that I could tell Tom, because I don't know, he doesn't do it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe people sometimes don't think they can call in, because we have a guest call in on line 2, so we leave line 1 open at our regular number so people can know the number.
Yeah.
And they want to know about stickers. Well, I'm in the process of ordering the stickers right now, getting that done. Nimbin is paying for the stickers, and Nimbin's also just ordered a bunch of frisbee stickers, not stickers, frisbee sunglasses, like the Blues Brothers sunglasses, and ink pens to give away. They're going to have KLSW. All this has 88.9 on it, right? The reason we don't have anything right now is because we didn't want to put money in for 91.3 when a month now maybe no longer, right? We also, I got to talk to Sarah about apparels. I'm trying to get apparels with all new sweat hoodies and t-shirts that have 88.9 on them instead of 91.3. So it's in the works.
Okay, thanks for the clarification on that. All right, moving on to old business. News collection. You have a topic up. So
let me backtrack here. Did I understand correctly? Because there were the Elks Club, you were going to think about charging them for presenting their information on the radio?
No. If they wanted us to broadcast their concert live, we'd have to have a fee.
Okay, all right.
They give us flyers, all nonprofit give us all the flyers they want, we read them free. There's no charge.
Right, okay. I can respect that. And I guess once again, local news information, the Coastal Interpretive Center, you did a show there that was really good. I guess I'd like to see more things like that. Guests like that coming in, community club, people coming in and talking about what's going on with their specific organization and how their organization is contributing to the community. And I also, Daryl, you mentioned last time that, local news helped keep your family ahead of the devil. And I guess that means you've got experience with local news. And one of the discussions we had was citizen journalism. And I guess I'd like to know if I could, Daryl, if we could work together and start some sort of program to help train people to report news on what's going on. I mean, about what's going on at the community club or going on at the senior center. We buried 3 people today. I don't know. We've got 2. I was there Veterans Day. There are 2 Marines there that 89 years old. That was, as far as I'm concerned, it's news, and I'd like to see more stuff like that going on. And when we talk about restricting the information because of politics. I want to talk about that, and I'm wondering, the rest of you feel that it's that democracy is irrelevant. Do you? You know? Well, that's my concern there, is the fact that we're restricting, we're supposed to be a place for news and information, yet we're denying our public the policies that make this city run. And I guess I'd like to be able to as well, when we go to City Hall and report live meetings, someone mentioned last time, the library board always has someone at the meetings. Marty, you've taken on a lot yourself, and I guess I'd like to be able to help with that by going to these meetings. And then I guess I want from the board, when I go to these meetings, city council meetings, would you like that? And if there's anything I should present while I'm there, or any sort of inspiration I should give while I'm there to encourage the city to do, you know, certain aspects, or to buy property, they have their own tower or whatever.
Well, we have secured a position on the city council agenda as a regular source, so that we don't have to be limited to the 3-minute public comment, and we can be open to questions exchanged with the city council members and mayor under those conditions. So I asked for that after our previous meeting and discussion, and we've received that now. Unfortunately, I misunderstood last night's meeting as being wholly a what was it?
You were on the agenda.
Yeah. I tried to look the agenda up online and I couldn't find it. So
Yeah,
that's why it was all study session.
Presentation.
Yeah, and I thought it was the entire evening was going to be just a study session. I just misinterpreted it completely. So that was my fault and failure.
Hey, Tom, Interpreter Center and the library, they come in once a month and talk about their events on the radio on the morning show. Barbara is very good at the Interpreter Center to send us flyers all the time, or not flyers, little letters of information, the events that they got going on weekly or monthly. And we read those too, so that all that gets put on the radio. And that's not just in the morning. Those things get read throughout the day. The library always gives us, after she's done, she gives us a bunch of paperwork that tells all the events are happening this week and that week, and what movies the kids are going to be watching this week. All that stuff is there. Everybody has an open, all city council people have an open invitation to come in at least once a month on the morning show to talk, just like we did with the mayor or Scott or with Sarah. They just don't seem to take us up on it. But it's an open invitation for them to always come in and talk.
Okay. Oh yeah, those are two good examples, but there's at least another dozen nonprofit groups that could use.
Well, we allow, but we come on, they got events coming up and things. We encourage people to give us a call. We'll schedule them, put them on the radio.
Why do you think people feel intimidated or feel unsure?
I have no idea. I don't do the morning show, so I think
It's difficult to get from the camera.
Yeah.
Microphone. It's scary.
So should there be a better effort by us to find contact with the senior center or the veterans?
Well, may I just interject? I mean, just like any other group that wants to have a presence, have their voice come out, they need to approach the station. I mean, we don't know. I suppose we could do a internet search to find out all the public service oriented groups. But even if it's somebody who has a very small group that would like to be able to be represented, they need to take the initiative to, or have the initiative to contact the city, to contact the station and say, we'd like to have our voice heard on the air, just like the Interpreter Center, just like the great library, everybody else. So there's the difference in expectation is that the individuals that want to have their voices heard need to contact the station, rather than the station going, we're going to canvass the entire city. We don't have the facilities for that. So Dave is next.
So that's the first I heard about your council spot, except it wasn't in your report or as chairs. So you have a certain date.
I said that in the opening.
No, I didn't catch it if you did.
Okay.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have thought you would have had enough data to, well, if you follow the previous, I know I've done it the last couple of months.
Yeah.
And of course, the data is not available right now for this month. And so it's always the first month, the first meeting of the month where we would try to make, or I would try to make the report just so they would make sure, you know, to highlight the streamed hours, the content hours, the volunteer hours. And of course, with the sand and sawdust, we just had our volunteer hours were way up due to that. So that was anyway, and I know you were out of town, so I'll send you my last report, and I don't know.
Oh, I think I have it from, didn't you circulate?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I told you I'd give it to you if you wanted,
Okay.
but I didn't get a response.
I thought I had it.
So, yeah, the one before that I did, you got it, but the last month one I did, you didn't ask for. So, anyway, that on that, and I know you travel a lot too, so are you gonna be, assigning different people then, or picking different people?
Sure, yeah, and we can figure out that there may be appropriate to do a rotational basis.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And then, on the subject of news, what I wanted to say is, I listened to the discussion, from last month, and the only part I'd like to chime in on was, right, I picked that up too, I think it's in the notes about, that was, Daryl fed his family while he was doing the news, and how hard it would be to get volunteers to cover a grueling job like that. But I really think that by making that assumption before we actually explore the idea, that we do a disservice to the citizenry here, because I think as long as you have butches and trays and other people in this town that are willing to put in a significant amount of hours, I don't think it's until we see if there's anything in the well that we can just assume that nobody in the public would be interested in putting in some volunteer hours to go out there and maybe bring us in some news stories. I think covering the upcoming Chief Tahola days down in up in Tahola from the 1st through the 4th. That's one I think would be a great opportunity, as well as a lot of other things that are going on in the town that are not being reported in any measure. The citizen control that's starting to come to life. There's just a number of things, and I don't, it's not going to be on the daily news or daily world, so we're not going to hear it on the radio. So anyway, I just think that we should try to maybe it would be appropriate to form a study group, which we're certainly able to do under the bylaws, or a committee to look into such a thing, so we don't have to hammer it out in a regular meeting, and see, have them meet and report back on some possibilities and ideas, maybe shake it out and think about it down the line.
I understand. It kind of dovetails with what
right.
Tom was
exactly.
saying.
Sure.
Yes.
Exactly.
The challenge is, of course, brought up by Daryl, is I believe editing. We don't just accept news reports as face value. We have to determine that that's actual, factual, and other parameters of it are consistent with truthful, positive reporting.
I understand.
And we don't have editors right now.
Well, we don't know that, because we have people in this town that are editors from the old Seattle papers. We got people in this town that worked on TV stations in Seattle. We have people in this town, if we were able to draw them out, that are certainly more than capable.
If they're willing to volunteer.
Well, I'm thinking that's something, why not form a committee or a study group and look into such a thing, and maybe we could finally expand news coverage and make it news. Because as we pump up our power, I think that something like that would certainly be appropriate, as well as possibly at some point in the future, maybe even getting into educational reporting or programming of some sort.
Sure, I understand. I'll just say one thing, and then we're going to wrap and move on to the next. Is generally speaking, beyond the improved coverage within the city of Ocean Shores, the added coverage area is not intrinsically a focus point for a radio station owned by the city that it's intended to serve. We have the luxury of having additional coverage and being able to cover a wider area, both in vehicles as well as in home receivers, compared to what we have today. The predictions are that that's what we will experience. We still need to be focused on citizenry of Ocean Shores, where we're licensed. It's appropriate to include surrounding communities as points of interest, but the focus needs to remain here. And just wanted to make that as a clarity statement of the intended use of the broadcast facilities. Darrell, did you have a quick comment?
Yeah, I think Tom's concerns about other organizations. I've heard a lot of I heard several spots on the radio encouraging people to send their stuff in and what the parameters are, and maybe that there just needs to be more of those or run more often.
We've been running that now for what, almost a year.
Yeah,
And we've got zero response out of it.
and the web page, and I will offer that I'll make a slide up on the simulcast slides. Again, asking for input from places and how they can do it. So at least they come up every 15 seconds, every 20 minutes for 15 seconds.
Two of the organizations I thought we didn't even know we had a radio station.
Well, that's kind of
Well, there you go.
Yeah, well, that means we're not.
Well, we have one sign besides the one that's out in front of the radio station. There's no other
Notice that the events.
points of attraction to the radio station.
For instance, we got Caleb's W big sign there, so there's.
But they're temporary.
Yeah, I know, but
They have the sign, and it's not in the city.
right.
Yeah, oh, the one at the convention center is permanent. It really is all the time.
Oh, you mean a reader? Okay, okay. I'm sorry. You're talking about banner style. Okay.
I got one comment for Dave. When you guys are looking for this committee to look at that, from our past experience, and Darrell can probably speak with us from the TV station, it's hard as a volunteer to find people committed. Because if you're going to get somebody to do news like that, they have to be committed. You don't want to do a couple of times, so it's too hard. I don't want to do it too. It takes up too much of my time. Then you started this program. Now you don't have anybody to run. We've run into this several times. People got a great idea. That's awesome. It's great. We're going to have, this will be so cool. Then they realize how much work it takes and how much time it is to go out. And you're going to have to have your scanner going. So you find out what's going on. And you got to run out to that news deal when that scanner goes on. You got to find these people that are committed to put that time in to do that. And that's very, very difficult.
Looking to a scanner and going to have password events is not what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you're talking about, Tom. I'm talking about the whole news thing.
The planning commission, city council,
Yeah.
Fire department, the local.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on.
Move on.
So we'll think about making a study group or something, look into this.
Yeah, I think that's a matter. I would suggest we table that for now. But I agree that it would be appropriate if we have a little better understanding of the foundations that are before us on it. So I realize you didn't do a formal.
No, I haven't made it. No, it's not in business.
Right. But I think that is a thing that is appropriate to.
Are we in old business?
Yes.
Got one suggestion. What happened to our financials? We haven't had financials in a long time.
The city, we have to ask for it. Sarah's not available. She's in other meetings today. Normally she would provide some financials. So I don't have any other response to that. Okay, time to move on to new business. Dave.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we, under Article 9 of the bylaws, that we amend our bylaws to expand our board. As you know, I recently sent out a resolution to the board, and where let me see here. I thought I had my, oh, there it is. Okay, that's where I sent it that, you know, due to the fact that we are getting ready to increase the power of the station, that the planning commission board, the park board, fresh waterways boards, all have 7 members each, and that the radio board was founded with 7 members, and the charter still says calls for 7 members, even though it was amended to 5 members. There are certainly a lot of reasons I believe would justify us having increasing our board to 7 members, and part of that is, you know, I'm actually glad to see these applications that we have for people to come on the board, and I think that instead of that we should be more inclusive and not more exclusive. So I for those reasons and many more, as I put in my resolution that I circulated to the board members, I would like to make a motion that we increase the board size to 7 people, and that's my motion.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
I second that motion.
Okay, and let's open this to discussion. Well, first of all, this is another point that I believe I would like to have a motion, or I will put forth a motion since that we table this matter.
You're trying to. Oh.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
Because there are a lot of nuances in this that we don't know the absolute intentions, why the board was reduced in intent from 7 back in approximately the year 2000 and carried forward as 5 members in a resolution, I believe it was, in 2010. At the time, the theory that the population has an impact on this doesn't really hold a lot of water, because, in my opinion anyway, that the population in 2000, when the original proffering for a radio station was made, there were 3,836 residents in Ocean Shores. In 2010, when it was amended by the city council to 5 members, there had only been an increase of 1,733 persons in the city population. So now we're going up, we're only going up 1,146 members between 2010 and 2020's population count. So the incremental increase to me doesn't present a large enough number to having that be a basis. But secondary to that, or perhaps even primary to that, is the legal language that we're facing when we look at this needs to be reviewed by the city. And I had submitted a note to the mayor. Actually, I submitted the note to Sarah, because that's the proper sequence. And I said, when an opportunity presents itself, please request that Mayor Martin approve to provide assistance to the OS Radio Board in the form of having the city attorney review and opine on the foundation, form, construction, and necessity of the attached document, which was Dave's presentation regarding the expansion of the board. And it had not, let's see, this is the proposed resolution document, which had not previously been circulated to the members of the board. I did subsequently circulate that to the members of the board. in this message that I sent to Sarah. So you're all aware of that. I just wanted to bring that to everyone's clarity. And yes, Dave.
Yeah, I think that's actually redundant, and I don't see any need, certainly for an attorney to look at it. But irregardless, the Article 9 of the bylaws is very clear, and it says that we can amend the bylaws at any regularly scheduled meeting, and that we can vote on specific changes. And after which, any amendment that we would propose to make under Section D of Article 9 says that the Ocean Shore City Council will be presented with the changes, and it'll be up to them to approve all amendments. So that's already in the language, and so of course it's going to go to the city. And if there's some nefarious reason that they would not want to expand the board, then I'm sure that they would let everybody know about that. But you know, it was actually just in a conversation, a passing conversation with Sarah, that she brought that to my attention, and we were talking about the enthusiasm that there seems to be for new board members, and she pointed out to me that a number of boards in this city had gone back to 5 members, and I don't know that they used your growth analysis to go back up to 7, but for some reason they decided, several of them, to actually return to 7 board members, and I certainly don't see why that would be a problem in any way. As long as, I mean, normally it's I can see if we can't get board members, then maybe after a while you would pair the board back to 5, and maybe that's what happened. I wasn't here there, but yeah, I think that you know, the city council is certainly going to be able to weigh in, and the mayor, and if they find some reason that this shouldn't happen, I'm sure that they will not approve it.
Well, I guess my contention is I don't want to waste the city council's time on having this when we have the access to the mayor as far as being a point of reference to assist the radio board with clarity on these matters. And I think this is just enough of a matter that is important, yet again, I don't want to waste the city council's time and energy. The mayor may decide that he has enough information that he doesn't need a legal opinion, but that's up to the mayor.
And he could do that with, if this motion passes. And I'd like to call the question.
Well,
I'd like to debate with the first.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to ask a question, not the question, but just next a question.
And we're open to that.
Open discussion. In looking at increasing the size of the board, and we have an expert here that'd like to ask to speak. That goes to a lot of other board meetings. And when you get the ones with 7, it seems to me that when you have a smaller group, you can get things done, and you've been pretty good about getting a few things done. When you get a larger group, it seems like things kind of log, you know, in the bureaucracy.
Sure.
I think the smaller group was tyranny.
So you're asking Frank?
Well, no, actually, I'm asking Jade.
Well, I don't think this is open to public. This is a board matter.
Okay.
At this point.
Well, Frank, do you go to other committee meetings in this town?
I do, but I'm not allowed to speak in this format.
Well, you have a voice in this meeting, just like anybody else does. You just don't have a vote. Just like Bush, you can speak anytime you want to. He's a member pro town or well.
He's the liaison.
I'm sorry, yeah.
He's the council liaison.
Yeah, he's an ex officio board member.
Right, and I'm not sure how far that extends, but if you're not comfortable.
No, my personal opinion is if you got the people to put on the board, what does it hurt? Okay, I don't know what.
I can do a little history on this if you want.
Absolutely.
This is the first time, and I can remember a long time, that we've had enough people put their applications in to fill a board. This is not a regular thing. Every time we've had board places on board, we had a hard time finding people that wanted to be on this board. If you increase to 7, it's going to be just that much more difficult to find more people to be on the board. Like I say, this is the first time I've ever seen it when there's been more applications than positions available we've had. Before, we were lucky if we got anybody to fill the positions. So that's something to think about. I mean, because it happened this time, it doesn't mean it's gonna, the next time it's gonna be the same way.
Right, oh, and I know last year we didn't even, I don't even believe it showed up on the website that we had a couple board openings coming. So anyway, I'd just like to call the question and move on with this.
Well, again, so I've asked for a tabling, and I'd like to see if I can get a second on tabling this matter. So that
Second, you have a second from Rosanna.
Thank you, Rosanna. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
So let's call for a vote on whether or not we should table this motion for expanding the board to 7 members. Those in favor of tabling the matter until a future time that it's been reviewed.
Aye.
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 Those opposed? We have 2 opposed. We have 3. We have a majority. So the matter is tabled at this time, and will be brought back when we have more information back from the city, since it's already been requested. If it had not been requested, I think that would have been a matter of keeping the matter moving forward. Okay.
So I guess anytime we amend bylaws in the future, we better get an attorney's opinion first.
Well, yes. I think that is, but you must understand that I have to look it up here so I stay on course. It's in the charter. The mayor is basically the decider in whether or not we will have access to legal review. So we go through the mayor to seek permission to use the lawyer, or have the lawyer have him or whoever.
I can't even imagine why they need a lawyer to figure out what they need to expand for. I
Well,
can't even imagine.
I understand, but again, like I said, it's a matter of form. Well, I appreciate that. So there it is.
I thought it was a perfect time to take advantage. You know, I know Butch made the thing about it was hard in the past and it was difficult, but I think times are changing and this town is changing. And you know, I mean, it was maybe a year ago, Butch pointed out that he didn't think there were going to be many people interested in doing Monday nights at the station, because they in the past when they tried it, it caught on fire at first and then nobody wanted it. And I think he was pleasantly surprised that that is no longer the case.
Sure.
So, like I say, take advantage. I don't know why we would want to be exclusive, and because all we still need is a majority of the board. So if we have 7 members and only 5 show up, we would still, you know, most likely. Well, I guess we. I don't know if 3 would still be a quorum, or I mean 5 would still be a quorum. I would think 5 would still be a quorum.
Well, again, there we go. There's an element that.
Well, we just have to look at
4 is the quorum. I would say, yeah. Normally, it's 2/3 or.
Okay. So there you go. All
Excuse excuse me for a minute. Because we are owned by the city and the council members make the ultimate decision. Is that correct?
That's correct. And if we would have passed the motion, it would have still been up to them to approve or not approve the motion. That's why I think tabling it is just not prudent. But of course, I'm opposed.
Yeah. So yes, that is correct. That all comes down to a concurrence of the city council. That's
So because of that, I think that we still need more information to be reviewed.
Hopefully
yes.
the mayor will think we need to be more inclusive. We'll see.
Agreed. Okay. All right. With that, I think we put that on course.
How did that come about? Be that one person decides what's going on here?
I'm sorry.
How does it, that the mayor decides that? Shouldn't it be the city council?
No,
It is the city.
the majority of the board that decided to table it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So then the next thing we have is discussion.
Yeah, we could have the open discussion, whatever matters are before us. So some point of discussion for board members.
Yeah, I think I got it all out there.
Rosanna, do you have any discussion that you'd like to share?
Is that to me? No, I'm okay.
Thank you. I believe that according to the bylaws, I believe, the present members of the radio board, as I understand it from the city's perspective, that 3 of the board positions will be vacated commencing after June 30th, because June 3rd, actually June 29th plus. So approximately on or about June 30th, the radio board.
Why would you think that?
Because the commissions expire.
It wasn't done last year. We have notes that go way back.
That's because there are no open positions last year.
Sure there were. Yours and Roseanne's were open. Why do you think you were reappointed? Do you not recall?
No, I don't recall.
Okay, well, let's look at the notes.
Okay.
I mean, or we can just look at the city's website, because it'll say right on there when you were reappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And it certainly wasn't in June or July.
As chair.
No,
just
chair,
2.
and we were elected as chair and secretary.
Okay, that's right. I do recall submitting a form and
I'm talking. I recalled you coming in and saying that the mayor reappointed you and Roseanne, but let's see here. Let's find the.
We didn't even have any radio board meetings those 2 months.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's OSGov. Go to the website. Because I believe you're wrong, and I don't think that there's any past practice of that. I can't even imagine when you can fuck that up, whatever. Obviously, you have a motivation. Okay. Boards and commission, 91.3. Marty Hatfield, 8/8/22. That was last year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's when you were reappointed.
See if there's a board meeting in July.
There definitely was, but I will, no
I
problem.
only there was, I think it was canceled.
Nope, but I will find it. See, July 22. See here. July 6th. Meeting agenda. Okay, call to order July 26th.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, it says that the meeting was canceled.
That's why I did, that's why I went to ours.
Yeah. So the terms expire on June 30th of the year of expiration. This year, according to the city clerk comments to me and to the board is that there are 3 positions on the board, plus my seat as chair expire or end, as the language is in the board charter, all terms of office shall end on June 30th of the year of expiration.
Yours is 25.
No, he's talking about his position.
Not just a
Chair.
board position, but as chair.
Right, as chair.
So
Okay,
there are 3 positions that are going to be open for filling. That leaves Rosanna and myself as board members as of June 30th.
so that's ridiculous.
I
mean.
Okay, again, come on.
We're under the-
Let's
Okay, well,
keep this
go ahead.
to the fact, not becoming ridiculous.
Well,
That's
Not sure the fact, but go
a
ahead.
subjective approach.
You got it?
It's right in the radio charter.
Go anywhere.
Under organization, it's the last, the first to the last paragraph towards the end, it says all terms of office shall end June 30th of the year.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought the charter up, because after you're done, I'll have something to say about that too. Go ahead.
Okay, so bottom line is that on June 30th, 3 board positions will be open. We've received a number of applicants from within the city. Those will be presented to, or they have been presented to the mayor for review by the committee that he, in this case, is to be reviewed, the potential new members or those who submitted their applications and any other new applications that may come along. Under organization, second paragraph, it says the members of the radio board may be self-nominated or nominated by others. All nominees shall be screened by a selection committee composed of the mayor or designee and a department head designated by the mayor. Appointments shall be made by the mayor pursuant to the Ocean Shores Municipal Code 2.62 and confirmed by the city council. Members may be removed by simple majority vote of the city council.
Well, that can be done at any time.
That can be done at any time, that's right. However, the nominees shall be screened by a selection committee composed of the mayor or the mayor's designee and a department head designated by the mayor. The Ocean Shores Radio Board is not instructed in the charter to decide who they want to present to the mayor. So there's no need for the radio board to vote on any of the members or any of the submittals that have been made to individuals who wish to join the board.
Well, that's exactly opposite of what the mayor personally told me. But
Well, again, Dave, that's a personal communication you had. We have no authentication of it. The mayor is not present to verify that. Sarah was not present to verify or deny whether or not he spoke about that. So let's just let that.
I'm glad you finished.
Thank you. Okay, so what I'm saying is that we will be entering into an interesting period where there are not going to be enough board members to have a quorum commencing June 30th. I believe, in my interpretation of the charter and bylaws, that means that the radio board will go into hiatus until the mayor and his selection committee, and ultimately the mayor recommending or confirm and the confirmation by the city council of persons to fulfill at least one of the 3 open positions before we can actually hold another meeting. So we're starting to run out of time too.
We have a lot of time.
Well, we have a 3-hour cap that are not going to intend to allow us to fall our heads off.
What's going on?
So That's where this stands. It's
In your opinion, yeah.
and in the opinion of the city.
I'm glad you, on a personal thing where we have no verification that we just said. Did they put that in writing to you since you got their opinion? Okay, well, anyway. But
I honestly don't know, but it has been voiced by the city. I'll just leave it.
The city?
It's in the board charter. It has to be voiced by the city. That's the voice of the city right there. Approved by the city council. What can I say? I mean, it's signed by the mayor. It's signed by the city clerk. It's signed by the city attorney. July 12 of 2010. That's the city speaking to us, sir. So let's please just stick with the rules that we have before us,
Okay.
and we'll move forward.
I'd like to bring your attention then to organization, since you're so familiar with the charter. Under organization on the charter, it says that let's see, chairperson, 5 members of the board. Okay, it's officio, city council liaison will be an ex officio board member, so that's you, right? Mayor should designate, assist the board as necessary.
Exactly.
And 3 terms, and
I'll just interject that that's exactly the mayor or a designee shall assist the radio board as necessary.
Right.
And act as a liaison.
that's,
In addition to Frank's.
okay, I'm going on. Okay, I understand that. But okay, now when it says during the initial appointment, now this is the important one. Have you found it? It's a last,
Yeah, under
last
volunteers
paragraph.
selected to serve.
Okay.
Let's look at the entire thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you
Right,
agree?
okay, no, go ahead and get the.
The sentence says during the initial board appointment process, board appointments shall be made so that 2 board members shall serve for 1 year, 2 board members shall serve for 2 years, and 3 board members shall serve for 3 years. Okay, that's clear enough, right? Is that correct?
During the initial process, which was the development of the radio.
That's what it says. Initial, okay, good. Then it says, as each initial board term is completed, get this. You ever read this one?
Oh, of course.
The newly, good. Then the newly appointed board member shall serve a term of 3 years. Not, it doesn't, so there's no call in there for interim board appointments. It says, the newly appointed board member shall serve a term of 3 years. All terms of office shall end on June 30th of the year of expiration. So for that, I would call into question that Thomas and I are even serving a shortened 1 year term that I never actually learned about until this year. Because, you know, and when I put this, I know everybody talks about AI a lot, but when I put this charter through AI and say, it's just, you know, what's it say? Well, then it tells me that, yeah, if you had 7 members, then there would be interim board appointments. But under this language, if there are 5 members, then the language is clear that the board, that there are 3-year terms, except for the very first one. That's why if we would have expanded the board here, then the 2 new seats would have been 1-year terms. So the board schedule would get back in sync. And then I'd also like to ask Butch, and I know you're never supposed to ask a question you don't know the answer to, but since Butch has this vast experience, Butch, have you in the past ever seen thing on this radio board? Because you just mentioned how hard it was to get people to apply for the board. So I'm wondering if in the past you've ever seen the board go into complete the word Marty used, whatever that was.
Hiatus.
Hiatus, yeah, hiatus due to a lack of board members or expirations of board terms.
It's never come up. We've had these 1-term things before when people have taken over somebody else's position on the board. Same as city council does.
That wasn't the question. I'm just asking if the board ever went into hiatus because of board things expiring.
Well, I've never seen the board not have a majority
Right.
quorum, even when there were two of the people went off the board, they still had a board meetings, there was three of them.
Okay. I guess I'll have to track the mayor down today and make sure I have a witness or recording. Because he told me we were going to decide on these candidates and interviewing.
Well, again,
Well, he's the decision maker, right?
the procedures may not have always been perfect in the past.
I'm just saying.
One of the goals of
Just
this,
telling what he told me, but that, of course, that was private and unverifiable. So shall we set the meeting? And adjourn?
Can I say something,
yes,
if I'm allowed? My understanding is you can still meet, you just can't make any decisions.
that's correct. We cannot hold a board meeting. We're able.
Well, you could have the meeting, you just can't make any.
You can't vote on it.
Can't vote on any.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's what I understand.
That's correct. Absolutely.
And we've run into a couple of situations when we had a board meeting, not everybody showed up. We had a discussion and leave.
Right, it's enough. Yeah, exactly. So any further discussion that anybody wants to bring up forth on this? I mean, to me, this just goes to the importance of having a foundation that we can rely on, that will be repeatable and addressable for change in the future. But again, just because a procedure was followed in the past does not mean A, that it followed the guidelines, or B, was completely correct. So one of our goals, one of my goals as chair has been to try to correct all this stuff so it's in concert with the city's own guidelines and operational modes that the city has. And some of this is horribly detailed from a standpoint of a volunteer. So I think that's probably enough said.
Can you explain this to me? What he's just talked about here on page 2 of the charter. The first paragraph, as each of these initial board terms is completed, the newly appointed board member shall serve a term of 3 years. What does that mean to me?
Maybe you ought to have a lawyer look at it.
That's what we need to have, because it probably means something different to each of us. Each of these initial. So they're talking about the very first
Well,
board.
then we go on and it says.
No, they're not.
We serve at the pleasure of the city council.
Talking about the next boards, Marty, it would be made to talk about the very first board. They said every board after that is a 3-year term. So get the lawyer to look that up.
That's exactly what this is a very important factor. Yes, sir.
And I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
But we have a motion before us to adjourn. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Rosanna. And with that, I guess we'll do a very fast vote of adjournment. Those in favor to adjourn, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we got 4. Thank you very much, everyone. And we'll see you next month. Meeting is adjourned.
Not my authority.